Well, good morning, everybody. It's nice to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. My name is Paul Marcus. I'm the Executive Director of Community Change. Community Change is a 42-year-old nonprofit in Boston, and our focus, our work is on systemic racism. The other hat I wore for about 18 years, I either co-taught or taught a class in the history and development of racism in the U.S. at Boston College. And we're a tiny organization, and only 2 of us on staff. We have a whole lot of volunteers. So that one piece of our work is this resource center. Another piece of our work is organizing, and I'll say a lot about that in a minute, but I'm going to put that on a side for a second. Another piece of our work is forums for learning and action. Another piece of our work is training and consulting. We do workshops for a lot of different organizations, and we have ongoing consulting relationships with a lot of different organizations. The other piece, in the Community Change was founded in 1968 by a man named Horace Seldon. And 1968, as you know, was the year Dr. King was assassinated, but it was also the year that a commission put together by President Johnson called the Kerner Commission. And the Kerner Commission was put together because that was a time in our country when cities were literally burning. And the Kerner Commission came together to try to figure out what was going on. And one of the pieces that some of you may have heard that the Kerner Commission talked about is they talked about 2 nations, separate and unequal, one nation black and one nation white. But the other thing that the Kerner Commission said is that we've been talking for a long time, and the way things get framed, we've been talking about a quote-unquote black problem, and they said what we really have in this country is a white problem. And so the Kerner Commission named that, and that really struck Horace, and he had an epiphany around it that working on that issue, the quote-unquote white problem, was his life's work, and that's still very much the focus of our work.
To live in the South was to live in daily fear of slave violence.
Okay.
To live in the South was to live in daily hope of successful revolts of African American people against their cruel slave masters.
Alone in the wilderness, the frontier family had to protect itself from wild animals and unfriendly Indians.
While living on their ancient homelands, Native families had to protect themselves from the invading Europeans.
So just quickly, a few words that come to mind as you watch this exercise. Just
perception and word choice. Like they're saying the same thing without it being said with like the words that they're choosing to use.
You think they're saying the same thing?
Yeah.
It was with certain things they were saying the same thing, but it's just a matter of like how you spit it. I could say it like,
Okay.
you know.
4 dimensions of experience. The first is the internal level. It's our thoughts and our feelings, our values. It's what's going on inside of us. The second is interpersonal. It's interactions between individuals. The third is institutional. And when we're talking about institutional issues, we're talking about roles, responsibilities, policies, practices, procedures, decision-making, those kinds of pieces. And finally, the fourth is the cultural dimension. Interwoven patterns defining who individuals are and how they are to do things. In the work I do with a woman named Donna Bivens, we talk, and I don't have time to go into this in any depth, but we work with organizations and talking about what we want to create. And we could spend some time talking about what we want to create. We want to create systems and organizations where all people feel a part of those organizations. We want to create organizations or systems where interactions support everyone, not privilege some and not others.